What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about luxury beauty fails. I spend a lot of money on makeup that is supposed to make you feel good while you're using it, in addition to the formulas performing nicely. I like a luxury experience. I like things to feel like skin caviar, eye caviar. Like, give me the luxury experience. I am willing to pay for it. But I have here in front of me a grouping, because there has been a trend lately, I feel like, of the things that I've been buying where they've just kind of really fallen flat. They've been luxury investment flops. I want to help to discourage y'all from spending money, or maybe cross something off your list that might be sitting there going, oh, well, I'm kind of lusting after that. I wonder if it's worth it, kind of thing. It's like, let me just save you the trouble, save you the money. These things I would not recommend buying. So let's go ahead and jump in. So yeah, when I say they're flops, my responsibility to y'all is, do I recommend it? Do I recommend you trading your money for it? And it has to meet a really high standard, especially for the price, but regardless, for performance and for the whole kit and caboodle of what I expect from it, in order for me to feel comfortable telling y'all, like, yeah, go trade your money for it, you know? These just don't meet that criterion. Criteria. I have several criteria. They don't meet the criteria, and so that's why. It's not that they're horrible, and if you like these products, keep liking them. I want you to like what you have. So in no particular order here, because some of these are old and some of these are new, let's start with this one right here. This is the BYREDO Remembrance palette. I was so excited for this to come out. It came out on one website, I think it was like Bergdorf's or something, and it sold out, and there was a lot of hype around it, and then a bunch of my creator friends bought it, and I finally got my hands on it when it came onto the BYREDO website, and it's $105. It's not a Pat McGrath palette, but BYREDO is a luxury brand by almost anyone's standards. Their perfumes can be upwards of $300, and their other eyeshadow quints are like, I don't know, they're like $65 or something like that. These are supposed to be a luxury experience. And here is why I don't recommend buying these. First of all, these have very little wear time. Regardless of how you feel about the actual color story, if it like totally appeals to you, fantastic, but like when you get the whole look on, it doesn't last. Like, you can put a primer on and it'll help, but I find that like these are the caracinest, fadenest, bye-bye-inest, eager to leave the building pigments that I've ever experienced, especially from BYREDO. I have two BYREDO quints that, while maybe not the most practical color stories and why I don't necessarily reach for them all that often, I was expecting a lot more from these formulas, and it just nothing. It just fell flat. I've used every shadow in here, and I will say the other thing that drove me personally crazy from an expectation versus reality standpoint was just that I was hoping for more textures, and the only textures you really get are in these silvers. And like, the silvers are not what I'm reaching for, because I am a neutral leaning warm toned person, and I just don't do a lot of, well, I should also say I have small eyes, and I don't reach for a lot of cool tones on my eyes, especially that cool of a tone, because you make my eyes look smaller. But like, what a crime, because they're the prettiest finishes in the whole I mean, they're gorgeous, but like, I'm not reaching for a silver, you know? And like this kind of like, you know, lavender gray, like, goodbye eyes. They're gonna shrink into the background. They're gonna leave right along with the eyeshadow. So I really was enamored initially by the nuanced differences between all these very blushy shades, thinking this is going to be something that really enhances what I already like doing with my eyeshadow looks, but like the mattes aren't matting, the shimmers aren't shimmering, the satins aren't satining, and I find myself just not reaching for it because I am frustrated by the performance of the formulas. And so that's why I don't recommend you trading any of your money for it. And boy, did I give her a good shot. I really, really wanted to love that palette. I did. I still really like the idea of it. I don't like the packaging. I don't understand. Could somebody explain this to me? What is this? Okay, let's talk about another eyeshadow. So this kind of goes hand in hand with a product that I absolutely adore. That is this is the one I like. The YSL Sequin Crush Mono Shadow in 06, which is called Confident Nude. I don't think it is for sale anymore. When I try and link to it, it seems to be out of stock everywhere, which makes me think it's discontinued. But I wear the daylights out of this eyeshadow because it's like the perfect peach with kind of random sparkles, you know, like the sparkles are really all over the place and it just makes it look a little bit kind of worn in for me. It's not an erratic level of texture. There's no like Rowan level texture to this. It's ethereal, it's cool girl, it gives a little bit of a smoky eye for me, and I find that like anytime I put it on top of an eye look. I'm glad that I did. But I couldn't help myself. Couldn't help myself. I saw Hannah using one of these and she didn't like it either. And it's called 04 Explosive Brown. Explosive Brown. And I bought it and I don't like it, and it's not the same. It doesn't have any real glitter particles to it. And it's sooty, which is one of my least favorite descriptive terms for any eyeshadow I'd be putting on my face. And brown, I'm sorry, we have a quorum. This is not brown. That's not brown. It's gray. I mean, I understand that it's kind of, it's a green gray, honestly. Like, look at that. That might be brown because my skin is showing through it, but it is not brown in the sense that I want to wear it as like a bedroomized shade. So my bedroomized shades, I'll swatch one for you. Like this new NARS quad that I got, it has a really great bedroomized brown in here. It's a brown that has a gold shift under it. And it's just such a marked difference, right? It goes almost red on my skin, which I'm fine with, but you know, alone even in the pan, you're just seeing a brown, like a true brown that shifts gold. And it also has about the same amount of sparkle in it, so you can use it in the crease without risking, you know, it totally distorting a shadow and light illusion you might be trying to create. And like, this is just so much what I thought it was going to be, and it ended up being this, and I just don't like it at all. So it's not explosive, and honestly, for all intents and purposes, it's not brown, so I want my money back. And it's just so strange to me how they are the same formula, quote unquote. They're the same product. It is the Sequin Crush Mono Shadow, and that Confident Nude is an entirely different formula with like actual glitter in it than the other one. It's just completely different formula. Now YSL has been charming the pants off of me with this. They sent me this recently. This is the new Rouge Volupté Candy Glaze, and it's just like a clear, but it doesn't have any pH reactor in it, and it makes your lips so juicy. Look how juicy my lips look. And it's tenacious. I found that the original Volupté Shines or whatever are gorgeous, but they don't really stay for very long. I don't know about all the colors because I just have the clear, but like this sticks around. It's good. It's a really, really good, like juicy lip that really stays. And I'm not getting like white ring of death or anything. I like it a lot. Let's stay for a moment in the eyeshadow category, because I think that this is the only other eyeshadow that I have here. I have seen such mixed reviews on this online. I feel like the people who enjoy this quad either really enjoy these 3 shades and that's enough for them, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, or they have a completely different skin tone than me and can pull off this like very cool pink. It's actually a pink with like a tiny bit of a blue shift to it, and or they wear so little of it that it's just this beautiful whisper on the skin, and fine. This is the Chantecaille Wild Meadows Eye Quartet. This is from last spring. It was, I think, the last purchase that I made from Chantecaille. I have been hearing some good things about the recent releases. They haven't been on my radar for whatever reason. I've just been hearing from friends that like got them in PR that they were good, but this was so disappointing. I put this on my eyes and I was like, I have never been so lost in a quad before. Like, this color is too light for what it's supposed to be. The brown, it's brown. It's browning. It's doing an okay job being brown. The yellow is like weird daisy yellow. It's like not a color that I want to wear on my face. And then this pink is truly like, there's no payoff to it, and what payoff there is, it shifts a little bit blue, which is very unflattering on me. This was just a huge disappointment, and especially because I did buy this. This wasn't sent to me for review or something. And so I bought it because I was genuinely interested in it, I guess. It's not necessarily about the money that I spent. It's about, because, you know, I'll spend money on anything to review for y'all. It's about the fact that I had high enough hopes that I think bought the whole collection that was on offer. So the other thing that really weirded me out about this was, we're talking about luxury, right? And we want the full experience. We're not just opening it up and examining the formulas themselves. This packaging is phoned in. Does it go with my dress? A little. It looks like the dime store version of my dress, but it really looks like generic imagery that you would see advertised locally for your allergy clinic, right? It's like, uh-oh, better get in for your allergy shots. Here come the forget-me-nots, you know? Oh no, that's a rhyme. Somebody pulled a jingle together in the comments. Y'all are smarter than me. So yeah, the whole thing was just a big flop for me, the whole collection in general. And if this is still around, there are moments where Chantecaille is like a broken clock and right twice a day. This is not one of those times. Okay, next. Again, This is not necessarily because this is a horrible, horrible product. It just, I don't recommend you spending your money on it because I don't want anybody coming back to me and being like, Khaki, you said this was good and it's X, Y, and Z disappointing, because we know that it is. So if you didn't watch my deep dive on these, I'll go ahead and give you the Cliff's Notes version. So this is the new NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush, and I was so excited about these that I bought all of them, and I did a deep dive on all of them. I actually really enjoy the performance of these formulas. It is this really gorgeous, sheer, more pigmented than I was expecting, but I think that that's overcompensating for the fact that they are so sheer. They're beautiful blushes. They are. The issue is, the actual colors are not particularly nuanced. Like, there's a lot that kind of like hovers right around that pink middle area, but I would be able to move past that if I felt like I could, you know, layer them and manipulate them and get like true color out of them. But they fade so fast. They fade before I'm even done with my makeup. And it's like, there's kind of a natural stopping point with a liquid blush where it's like, you gotta be done, or else you're just gonna start having to put on powder blush on top. You know, I think that there are like hybrid blushes that are kind of, you know, cream powder blushes that you can get away with continuing to layer when you're done with your makeup and everything. But once you've like powdered and you've done a couple of layers of this, like, you can't go in as an afterthought the way that I tend to do at the end of my makeup routine and go, yeah, I want to put a little more blush on. Like, they just don't really want to do that. The other thing that's kind of a fail about this is that Dolce Vita is like the most beautiful color ever in this formula, and it's nothing like the Dolce Vita shades in their other products. I bought the Dolce Vita blush so that I could test them against each other, and they're wildly different from each other, and I just found that to be like, I love Victoria Beckham Beauty, for example, because they have this consistency of colors across their products. Like, my friend Natalie of My Skintrist, she swatched Trench against the lighter shade in the bronzer brick. I'll do that for y'all. Finally occurred to me that this is called trench as in trench coat, not trench as in throw something in a trench. I don't know why my brain went to that. Maybe she meant the deeper shade. There we go. It's the deeper shade, not the lighter shade. So here is the deeper shade in the Victoria Beckham matte bronzing brick in 01. And this is the eyeshadow, the eyewear stick from Victoria Beckham in trench, right? They are virtually identical in shade because Victoria Beckham just has an eye for, I don't know, continuity, right? And like knows what she likes. And the fact that they weren't even designed to be like the same shade, they're not even called the same thing. I just appreciate that it's supposed to make a unified face of makeup, and NARS couldn't bother to make the same color that has the same name in two different formulas. Come on, NARS. Especially because that Dolce Vita liquid blush is so beautiful. I'll just swatch it. It's so beautiful. It's like this awesome like sunburn color, you know? And the original Dolce Vita, it might as well be from another planet. Like, we're talking about purple versus like, you know, a rusty clay brown. Like, no. So it's like, if you don't like the liquid formula, you can't go and just get that color someplace else in the NARS line. And you should be able to, because they're the same name. They're supposed to be the same color. So anyway, I'm sure there's some kind of explanation and method to their madness, but I don't currently understand it, and I don't recommend buying those. Okay, let's talk about a grouping of foundations that all disappointed me for different reasons around the same time. The first ones, I actually bought two of these in search of my shade, and that is probably the biggest issue here. So these are the Terracotta Le Teint from Guerlain. I'm not anti-Guerlain. I've experienced some nice Guerlain products, but these are 95% naturally derived ingredients. It is a Healthy Glow Natural Perfection foundation, 24-hour wear, no transfer, and it's supposed to be a radiant matte. I love this stuff right here. I don't know what the finish is supposed to be on this, but this is the #1 de Chanel Red Camellia Revitalizing Foundation, and I feel like it is a little bit more makeup-y, you know? And I was kind of hoping that this was gonna be that, like a nourishing version of something that still gives you that perfected finish that like photographs well, for example, or like holds powder well and is like lightweight, because it is supposed to be really lightweight. The first issue that I had, I bought 0N thinking I am the lightest shade and I am an N, and it is so wildly yellow. Look at it. Oh no. It looks terrible on. And so I bought 0C thinking I'll just mix it with that one, and that ended up being neutral. Okay? Like that ended up being the right undertone for me. Yeah, it's a little bit pink, but like as it sits on my skin, it's a way better match. And the way that the dry down behaves on my skin is horribly unflattering. It's a little bit too kind of like, I do appreciate when a foundation is like thin and loaded with pigment because it's gonna be able to like serve its purpose without loading you up with a bunch of actual like cakey product, right? But this is so thin on the skin and then it goes to kind of like a powder matte, not like, you know, Estee Lauder Double Wear or, you know, that old Pacifica foundation that just like literally went to like a paper finish. I get what they were going for and it works better for different skin types than mine. I am a dry skin type. I mean, I've definitely heard better things from folks who have like oilier skin and, you know, medium skin tones and things like that. Maybe they were able to find better matches, but on my end of their shade range, the very, very fair end of their shade range, I feel like the colors are just kind of too saturated and they're just way off in terms of what they're supposed to be. And the formula is just not meant for me. So if you're kind of a skin twin of mine and you like something that does give you that like nice photographable finish, but a little bit of coverage and doesn't dry you out, skip those and go for the the Camellia Revitalizing Foundation from No. 1 Chanel. I love this. I wear it all the time. This and the Armani Luminous Silk are both like my favorite foundations for when I want to wear a real foundation. When I want to like put something on my whole face, even out the coverage, get something that's like medium to buildable, not completely full coverage, that is gonna leave me with this really nice, believable skin finish. Like that doesn't look super obviously different from like where I don't have makeup on, you know? And that's just my personal preference. I like things to just read a little bit dewy and a little bit better than real life. And those are the ones that I would recommend. Definitely not the Terracotta Le Teint. I don't know, y'all. This Gucci Eternité de Beautè. I bought this one also in 120N, thinking, yep, 120, that makes sense. Neutral, that also makes sense. Holy green potatoes. It is like Grinch green on me. It is so wildly off. It is just a really, really unflattering color on me. I really kept it so that I had a hard time even reviewing the formula. And it sucks because I think that the formula itself might be okay. Makes me kind of want to go and try. I mean, should I, y'all? It does have that Gucci fragrance. Oh my Lord. I don't know. As it dries down, it gets a little bit cakey looking. I haven't really given this more than like 2 tries because it's just such a bad shade match. And I just resent the fact that like that's their 120N shade. But I guess that's all there is to the flop portion of it, was just that I paid so much for it. And it's like, I know that there are so many people shopping online to buy their foundations that aren't going to, you know, necessarily be able to get to a Sephora. You're gonna go to a Sephora and swatch it in person or something. And so your likelihood of ending up with a good shade match is pretty bad if that's the way that you're going about it. It's a shame because I do think that, I don't know, just looking at the dry down, it looks like it could be kind of nice. Should I go for my shade? Like go get like swatched in store and see if I like it? Or is it just, we just write it off as a loss? Let me know. Uh-oh. Just as I'm singing her praises, I am going to have a negative thing to say here about Victoria Beckham Beauty. I don't have the contour ones. I don't know if I'm gonna get the contour ones. I have a weird feeling that they're just like gonna make the contour ones like disappear. I don't think that that release one is planned for some reason. I don't know, but I'm not gonna buy them. I don't think. I don't know, should I? But whatever. Either way, someone asked recently actually it was on a comment on one of my YouTube shorts. They said, how do you feel, because we were talking about lip stains, they said, how do you feel about the Victoria Beckham Bitten Lip Tint? And I realized I have all of them. At one point in PR, they sent me all of them, and that I never really gave y'all my opinion on them, and that's that I don't really like them. It is actually not because they're like a lip stain, and I, you know, categorically don't love lip stains. Because I categorically don't love lip stains usually because I don't think that they're like I don't think I look good in that stained lip thing. You know, I look better when my lips are kind of like juicy and, you know, plumped looking. The issue here is that yes, it stains, but also, as you see where I first put it down and then I blended it out, it is pH adaptive. It is starting to change on my skin. And so no matter what, the beautiful kind of caramel tone of this one, which is Poupette, is, you know, is gonna look like right when I put it on or right out of the tube, it's still gonna go pH pink. And that's just kind of a buzzkill for me because I actually like the colors and I like the formula. I think that the kind of serum-y formula is really nice. I just wish that they would take the pH factor out of it because it makes them all kind of assimilate to that like leaning hot pink thing that I just don't like on my lips. It just doesn't look good on me. So I would much rather just see my natural lip color through something than for it to kind of like artificially darken my lips towards hot pink. And that's what this does. Like you can see, do you see that? Do you see where the stain is and then where I spread it out around it and their initial stain is going that hot pink color? That's why I don't like these and that's why you never hear me talk about them. And it's just so rare that I don't love something from Victoria Beckham Beauty. And I think that these are obviously for someone and it's a properly executed version of what they were going for. I just, again, it's like the pH thing is just kind of a deal breaker for me. And now my hand will stay stained like that. Yes, it will. It's going to stay like that. And finally, our last little mention here. I bought this again. I bought the no, they sent me the first version of it and I found it to be okay, but not great. And then there were a lot of complaints about it. I'm gonna make you guess what it is. There were a lot of complaints about it being such a meager amount of product for the money, and so they like almost doubled the amount of product in it or whatever and kept the price the same. And I bought it again just to kind of remember how I felt. Well, I think I'm gonna be sending this to Tom, because I think Tom is all the way out of theirs and they were talking about buying another one. This is the Merit, the Minimalist Perfecting Complexion Stick. And I talked about this in a YouTube short recently and said that this is like one of the most overrated, overhyped products because to me it very much is trying to be the Westman Atelier Vital Skin Foundation Stick, which is an exceptional product. I'm going to be doing a new Westman Atelier like updated, you know, full face because I have occasion to buy a new stick. I actually need to put that one in my empties. The foundation stick, not because I completely finished it, although I came pretty close, but because it's just, I mean, I've had it for literally since 2019. So it's like, it's done. So it is something that I love having in my collection. It's so utterly beautiful and I want to fall back in love with it. And so I will be buying it again. And so maybe we'll buy the liquid highlighter and some other stuff too while we're at it, just to see. But either way, that was what I was comparing this to in my mind. And while it goes on and you're like, maybe, you might rabbit, you might. This made my under eyes look the worst that they have ever looked. It was a case of I did my makeup in low light and then when I got in better light, this was when Simbri was staying with me and you know, I was just like, I'm sorry, do we have time for me to go wash my face and start over? And we very much did. We were still waiting for Hannah to arrive. So yeah, it was that bad. And I have so many things in my collection that I know what they behave like and they are kind to my under eyes. And like my under eyes aren't that challenging. Okay, I don't have particularly challenging under eyes and this just looked so bad. But Tom, my good friend Tom, Hope Miss Tom over on Hope Miss Tom's channel, they love this. They have oily skin. And they find this to be like very accommodating, very pretty, very, you know, useful and does exactly. And they also don't have super demanding concealer needs, you know, or complexion needs. And so this is kind of an ideal product for someone who actually is sort of a minimalist. And also I got comments on that YouTube short where people said, with all due respect, like with all politeness in the world, I have oily skin and actually it works pretty well for me. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this is an oily skin product and therefore it is a fail for me because all it did was make me look like a dried up sarcophagus. And I will be including it in a friend mail package that is already many products deep that I am going to be sending to my friend Tom so that they can have a refill. And that's kind of it. I don't know, there are still things that I feel like could fall into this category, but I wanted to concentrate on the ones that I feel like, you know, have things spark joy, like these spark frustration when I look at them in my drawers. And like, I just kind of want to address them and move on, you know, give y'all my like quote unquote final thoughts on them because a lot of these are semi new to my channel like this year. If there are products that you were kind of waiting to hear my feelings on that you thought would fall into this category and weren't mentioned in this video, please let me know. I'm happy to do a follow-up. Absolutely. And y'all are always really helpful in that respect. Your memories these are incredible. So help me out if I need it, and I hope y'all did enjoy this. If you did, and if I saved you some money today, please do give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, it'd be a cool thing if you did, and I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. I love y'all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!